I don't know. I'll
I
see if.
consent to be recorded. Cool.
Oh, dude, does everybody consent?
Yeah. Well, it says legally I have to consent or leave. It gives you a little pop up.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's recording then.
Yeah.
So when Michelle gets here, I'll just stop it.
I didn't get it.
What happened?
I didn't get a consent. That's weird.
Oh, that was weird.
So on the left is that example code. So let's see here. We just kind of have to kind of match it up. So like, whoops. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. So right here, it creates the router. So router equals this. So it's R0. There's only one router in this example. And then there's 3 switches. And so the router has 3 interfaces and a switch is attached to each one of them. So the router's first interface, it just uses the default IP right here. And then the second interface is use this IP, and then the last interface uses this IP.
Okay.
So I think we're going to have to do something like that. And then the hosts, you see the IP address is entered here. So there is an IP already over here, but we just have to change it.
Change what? I don't understand that.
So he has the, let's see. I'm sorry, my family's very loud.
Sorry.
I've told them many times. They don't care. So,
That's the same.
so like host H1 and the router interface connected to S1. So this is like the, we got the West Coast network. It's just host 1, switch 1, and router 3. And the East Coast network is host 2, switch 2, and router 5. And then router 4 is just the internet. And you see there's 6 links. So we have to, excuse me. You guys are really loud. I'm closing the door. So the West Coast and the East Coast just want to talk to each other. That's it. So down here, it tells us how to set the IP addresses. So we just have to go through this.
So subnet IP addresses, they start with the 10 something something, right?
Yeah, so we're going to start with the 10s, yeah.
And does the X matter what it is? Can we just choose anything we want?
So this, I mean, this could be like a 1 because it's going to be our first network, I guess, using this this
Yeah.
IP range. And then Y could be 2. And then each network will have 256 hosts possible, you know, the last byte there.
Yeah.
So we can just put, like in this example here, let's see. So they just named it 192.168.1.100. So they assigned 100 to their hosts on each one of these subnets. So we could do something like that. We just have to make sure that all the networks match up. So we have to create, it says 6 static links.
Sorry, when you say they have to match up, what do you mean?
Like let me show you that. So like this host is going to have an IP. We need to make sure that it has router 3's IP address, like for this interface right here. And then host 2 would have, it needs to know router 5's address as well. And that'll be, let me see here. So it says like right here, when in the example on the left, the host, you add an IP for it, and then you also put the default route. So that's going to be like the default, that's going to be the router that is attached to
Okay.
the router's IP. So over here, it says default route none. So that's one of the things we have to fill in. So we have to assign the host IP addresses that like match the default router that they're attached to. You know what I mean? Like the network part of it matches the first part of it. Do you see how that all kind of like links up?
No, I missed that. So sorry.
So like basically over here on the right is the code that we're modifying.
Yeah.
So like
Yes.
host 1, I mean, right now it has that IP, right? But it says default route equals none. So it doesn't even know, it doesn't have an IP address for router 3.
Okay.
So we
just
have to,
3.
yeah. Up here, so R3 equals, and it says net.add host, and that's where it's initializing router 3, and it's giving it an IP of 0.0.0.0. So we have to configure that IP, and then basically we would just put that IP over here in host 1's default route. So that's how it would know.
Yeah.
And then the same thing for router 5. We'll assign that an IP and then put that over here so host 2 can get to it.
Did he give us any specifics on what the router's IP should be?
Yeah, it's all broken down. Oops, that is it.
I see like the IP addresses of the hosts. To host network with IPv address. Oh yeah. Okay, I see the router one. Link between router 3 and router 4 will be to host network with the address of 192.a.b. Remember it to host network.
Hey, it looks like Michelle's trying to log on. Is she like waiting
She could be.
to be let in?
Yes, she is. Okay, let me. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.